All right, and we're back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a brief recap episode of today's weather tonight. As always, I'm Cloud Hudson, your meteorologist, comedian slash meteorologist for the evening, and I'll be bringing you all of today's top weather stories. But actually, tonight I will be bringing you a brief recap of everything that we missed while I was out of town on a family vacation. I don't often get to go on vacation, just not because I'm overworked, but because I never get around to it unless somebody else makes the plans for me. So, yeah, I took the opportunity, had a lovely time, learned some great survival skills, did all the America stuff, all that crap. So let's go ahead and start by recapping the biggest news that happened while I was gone. Hurricane Beryl made landfall on the Mexican, the Yucatan Peninsula. We went, really threaded the needle at while I was gone. When we last spoke, Beryl was around here in the Caribbean Sea, about to pound Jamaica. Then it moved out of Jamaica and actually strengthened a bit as it moved towards Cancun, Mexico. And then it really, it did pretty perfect shot, like ramped off of the Yucatan Peninsula that gave it a little bit of vertical motion. There's been a little bit of a vertical oscillation of the center. It looks like that this is a skipping rock. You can see that it's sending out ripple waves in pulses in a, that's what I see anyway, is that the jello mold of this storm got a little shaken up by going over this landmass, and as it is currently barreling towards Corpus Christi, everywhere from South Texas to Houston, it has weakened. However, it is still a tropical storm that was formerly a Category 4 near 5. And in addition to that, when I go off of satellite view, we'll be able to see the rest of the radar. I just wanted you to see where the remnants of the storm, what shows up on radar, really is what's showing up on IR radar too right now. We've got sandwiching water air masses. Water air masses, you know what I mean, clouds. We've got sandwiching storms coming in on either side of the Texas coastline right now. So we've got on one side, on the periphery of this high that's at the end of this stationary front, big bowing, swirling, kind of stagnant clouds sweeping between Austin and San Antonio, all the way up to San Angelo, Brownwood, Abilene, Texas. That's coming in from one side, and then from the other side, we've got the rain band of tropical storm Beryl. And as we know, the rain is not the only concern. It's also the lower pressure coming in that causes the water level to rise. In addition, the storm surge and contribution to direct onshore motion of the waves. Storm surge is going to be a big risk with this one. And with rain coming from the backside of it and a high right here, that creates a pretty steep gradient between this high and this low, meaning that the winds, the side-to-side winds, the pressure gradient force winds are going to be really high. There's a high pressure gradient, so that means that one pressure gradient force is one aspect, one of many aspects that determines the resultant real wind. So this is definitely going to drive some strong winds, both alongshore and onshore. So people in Texas, even though this is not going to be or not supposed to be a hurricane when it makes landfall, you are still in danger of this storm surge warning. You've got a hurricane warning and a tropical storm warning. Some of these you can't really see where the differences are, but most everywhere that's got a storm surge, most everywhere that looks in this pink rectangle, everywhere that looks like it's only got a storm surge warning, that's only because it has that on top of it. It's overlaid on the hurricane warning, and then everywhere else also has these tropical storm warnings. The hurricane warning expires in 3 hours, though. The tropical storm warning expires then too. Flash flooding possible on the backside storm. That is actually what we're most concerned. That's what we, being me, is most concerned about, is the interplay between these two. Now, I haven't listened to the newest other meteorology takes on this, but that's just from my eye. I think that no matter what, you are going to get some rain out of this, and no matter what, you are going to get some storm surge, kind of like how Alberto brought that flooding, even though it didn't even make landfall till down here. I think we are projected for a more northern landfall in Texas here. Now, that is not the only extreme weather currently going on in the United States. Let's just follow this stationary front, shall we? This is where we've got yesterday and today's big southern thunderstorms rolling through. We got a mesoscale discussion, mesoscale precipitation discussion, for flash flooding likely in this area of Georgia and South Carolina near Augusta. We are including Vidalia there in a special weather statement, actually. These are storms that are forming with the funneling in of moisture from this system, because remember, on this end of the hurricane winds go around like that. So tangent to the line here is that. So a part of this deforming hurricane is funneling air, moist Gulf air, into this nice scooping frontal boundary that is backed by a high that is going clockwise. That's kind of like blocking that air from going further north. So it is actually scooping along the frontal boundary and creating its own convection just from the air mass pressure differential redirection of it anyway. That is coming to a head when we get to Atlanta and South Carolina, because or not really Atlanta, Georgia and South Carolina, because this area's got a little bit of a dry line here that is, or is it a trough? I think it's a dry line out front that's scooping up and giving a little bit more lift, a little bit more instability to this area. Plus, this area, yesterday, these storms swept through the western North Carolina mountains, and the day before that, on 4th of July, up through Kentucky, we had this storm system creating quite a downpour as well. We've got flash flood warnings going on in Charlotte, North Carolina, Florence, South Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, which also has a special weather statement going on, as well as here in Harlem, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, Dublin, Wrightsville, Georgia, and special weather statement in Vidalia. Then, in addition to that, on the other side of that block high that's contributing to where the storms are forming along this front, got another low coming in on the back side. The center of circulation is here near just south of North Platte, Nebraska. You can see a classic thunder cell. This is the type of cell where you see it on the radar and you can just imagine what that storm looks like. Like, you know what shape that cloud is. Others, it's a little harder to picture. But that isn't necessarily where the strongest storms are. The strongest storms are out here near Dodge City and Lincoln, Omaha, Nebraska, and Falls City. Is this Sioux Falls? No, that's the other side. From Nebraska City to Falls City and St. Joseph, Atchison, this area is about to get hit with the Boeing line segment that just swept through Lincoln. And as you can see, this went through the wishbone shape and it's actually reforming into that arrowy wishbone shape again, where it's the crashing wave shape. So there is a bit of vorticity. You can even see the wave crash here. Like, can't you see the wave? This would be an ocean wave that hasn't crashed yet. It picks up, crashes, got that white cap curl right there, and then it is now in the deforming stage. So they just let that mesoscale discussion for the area expire, but this is still a pretty severe thunderstorm system that is probably capable of, let's see what hail they've predicted. Scattered large hail, up to 2 inches in diameter, gusts significant up to 75. That is here. Then down in Dodge City in Kansas, they're looking at 75.75 inch hail and wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour. Flash flood warnings for near Scott City, Kansas, and also in the panhandle of Texas. Amarillo is currently just got over this big cell that is now barreling down towards, it's winding itself down, but there's still a lingering special weather statement there that's probably going to be allowed to expire soon. Sorry. There's a fly about to fly into my mouth. Okay. I guess my breath is bad. Then up here in Minnesota, where they have had way too much rain already, we've got another low circulation sweeping rainfall from actual Sioux Falls this time to Brainerd, Fergus Falls, Bemidji, and Fargo. I know everybody likes to say both Bemidji and Fargo. Those are fun names. I like to say St. Cloud. St. Cloud is about to get some good clouds. And by good clouds, I mean probably bad clouds, nasty clouds. But you can see this is embedded in a larger system of circulation. It's more spread out, less concise. You can really see the sweeping out of the air mass that spurred these two Nebraska and Kansas storm systems. They really look like they're spreading out from the middle here. And we just had a new special weather statement issued here for Larned, Kansas. I went to Larned. I saw one of my first ever tornadoes in this area. I know it is very possible to produce tornadoes here. Now, will they produce in July? That I don't think is as likely, but it is still possible. These are the type of rotating storms that have the potential to accidentally go vertical. But I was going to say it doesn't look likely, and then on that last little line segment here, it looks like we got a dangler, little shrimpy dangler boy. See this right near Dodge City forming up? This rear flank, I'd keep an eye on that. I don't even have time to get into all the storms that happened while I was gone. Just know there was a lot of severe storms, a lot of tornadoes, a lot of flooding. Finally, New Mexico is having a break. I had a feeling that once enough storm systems swept in through here and here, we would finally get our East Coast moisture stream back on track. And it's back on track just in time to merge with another western-headed tropical storm, which could throw things out of whack again. But with so much high pressure over here, I think it's going to be able to bounce this storm east once it gets into Texas. Just how much of the airflow will it drag back into the Four Corners region? That's the question. Now, do I go into a big update? I am trying to get through this update kind of fast because I have other stuff to catch up on now that I'm back in town. but I will go ahead and take us to earthquakes. Because there's been quite a bit of earthquakes. I've got on 4 and above right now. This is everything from July 3rd that's been a 4 and above. So pretty much everywhere on our plate boundary map has gotten these 4s. I'm just going to call out some of the highlights here. And when I have multiple days like this, it does let me show the volcanoes. So we had a barbell, a dumbbell sandwich, the deep and shallow. Sideways, it looks kind of like a dumbbell. See, of 5.1s here on the northern island in Japan. We had a lot of Japan quakes off the coast of Tokyo. We had 4s here in the peak of the right around Great Sitkin, I think is what this one is. Is it? Yeah, that Great Sitkin. That's the volcano right there. Had some 4s near there. We had a lot of 4s and surface ones at that off the coast of Vancouver here. All actually looking 10 miles depth. We had a surface 5.2. I am certain that. Oh, and a 5.7. I'm sure that turned some heads. They are all in this area. I think, is that the one Fuca plate? I don't remember which plate this is. But they are all right here. Multiple 5.7s, multiple 5s right off of Vancouver Island at pretty shallow depths. I think 10 is the deepest they're going, and shallowest is 0. No 4s or 5s in California, but probably, let's just see, very many lower quakes, right? Oh, yeah. Lots of lower level quakes in California. 4s and 5s going through over 5s. We got 5.3 and 5.2 in Mexico here. This is where Popo is, if you ever wonder. I just can't get my map to show volcanoes unless I show more than a few days of earthquakes at the same time. Only a handful of 4s in Mexico now. We had a 4.3 in the Grenadines. That is after the hurricane swept through. That was on July 4th. So that was right between Rousseau and Fort de France. Actually, between Martinique and Dominica. There was, which I think is pretty close to where, that's where the hurricane hit. So interesting. I wonder if there was any plate tectonics that shifted due to a shift in surface conditions. I'm not saying it was. I'm saying I wonder if. We've got some decently deep quakes here in South America going on. 5.2 down here at the meeting of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge and the Antarctic Plate. We also had some top-of-the-world quakes, some 4.4s and 4.3s, and I'm not even showing the little ones. 4.9 in Greece. We've got a lot more near Crete. Etna is active. We'll see that in my short volcano update. 4.9 down here on the African and Australian plate boundary. 4.7 up here in the active Himalayan region and Hindu Kush region. And then, of course, as we get into our Ring of Fire Oceania area, we got some whopper deep ones. Let's see if I can get 490 kilometers depth and 9.6 at 0. That's not, I clicked on the volcano. That's what it shows for a volcano. 490 depth, 540 depth, 620 depth, 519 depth. So really, really deep quakes happening out here on the wave-shaped plate boundary. Yeah, I think that is all I can show you for this. Let's go ahead and scroll through our volcano update. We had Mount Etna continuing to degas and explode from the Voragine crater. We got Svartsengi update, model of the magma volume in the shallow reservoirs from October 25th to May 30th. Events. The red dots show the position since that May 30th. So this is probably how much volume of magma is in there based on the inflation data. Here's some great pictures of Etna. Uplift in the area continues at Svartsengi in a speed greater than it had before the last eruption, meaning things are really ramping up. Let's see. We got Stromboli and the Aeolian Islands popping up in the news, Karimsky, Fuego, Sciara del Fuoco of Stromboli looking active. Let's see if Iceland issued their own new update. Okay, we had a deeper earthquake in Iceland, or bigger than a 3, earlier on Friday, just uphill from the Svartsengi, but nothing there. Let's see. Update July 5th. Since the end of the explosion at the Sudnuk's crater row, the levels of seismicity is still very low. Ground deformation show that uplift continues. So this is what's happening. Under the power plant, under Svartsengi, is the upwelling of magma. The Sudnuk's crater row is where it's found places to flow out to. See. Magma inflow rates continue. Likelihood is in the coming weeks and months for the next eruption. Our Schumann resonances have also been pretty high. I didn't save any images, but they have been elevated. Let's see what today's ended up like. Oh, pretty nominal, but it looks like recently they really started to peak, so we'll have something to talk about later. I might hop on and do a longer update later tonight. Let's take a look at our, look at that weather. Okay, there were a lot of events on the 3rd. There were 10 corona mass ejections on the 3rd. See, we had 5, 6 on the 4th, and 5th we had 34 to 25. We had 10. And then today we have had, actually the last one on the 5th was a type 2 angular halo, a massive CME that got launched with probably an Earth-directed component to it, looking beautiful as ever with many other trails still getting emitted. A little bit of a proton elevation there too. And then on the 6th, we've had 4, but one of them was also a partial halo. And then we are, let's see, our X-ray flux. Looks like we did have some M-class flares in the past 3 days, but and actually in the past 2 hours, we just had an M1.3. But I think we might be on our upswing again. Let's go to our home of solar activity. Yeah, the sun is really changing shape. This looks like kind of a fancy G, like a lowercase g or something. Or a bow, like a Christmas bow, a bow tie. Our solar protons, yeah, looks like they did spike a little bit, but aren't like staying high. Let's see our updates. Radio blackouts, not too much going on. For auroral activity, we're looking pretty low. Yeah, then let's go finally to recap what we missed on the planets, which would be that we, Oh, I clicked on the wrong link there in my... Oh, it's right next to each other, though. I have a little tab of links called Vibology, and so some of these are just like put astrology next to geology. It's whenever I discovered it, got added to the list next. Okay, so we are about to move out of the new moon phase. So that is first what happened. The moon moved into Gemini, conjoined Jupiter, then moved through Gemini, and conjoined the sun on the new moon on the 5th. On the happy today, Uranus and Jupiter conjoined. So it is putting into action the great spark of knowledge into the material world that was given as a nugget of wisdom on that April 20th this year. Mars is still in Taurus. Not the happiest place it's because it's opposite Scorpio, which is Mars rules Scorpio. It's in its fall in Taurus, so it's not the happiest, but it is definitely, I think, the pulling back of the slingshot and ready for the slingshot to be loosed in Gemini. So we're getting the most canceriest Cancer vibe of a 4th of July weekend that we could, I think. Flanked by a Leo Mercury, we're all going to speak our mind, and a Mars in Taurus. We are all going to be really moody about and in our feelings of, I know what my body wants to do right now kind of stuff. Yeah, it is a Saturn day today. It's not quite a Saturn hour yet. I usually broadcast during a Saturn hour, but I have to go accomplish some other tasks with my Saturn election for the day. It is a moon hour, though, so listen to your body at the moment. Okay, sorry that this was a broadcast a little earlier than I'm used to doing. I know not many of you are here yet due to that, but hopefully you'll see this update. Hopefully, Jenny down in Texas, you will know, you already know that you need to be watching out for Hurricane Beryl. Yeah, I'm not going to do a vibe reading right now because this isn't a full show. This is just recapping everything we missed over this holiday week. So thank you all for watching another short episode of a bonus episode of Today's Weather Tonight. I will see you all possibly later tonight and definitely tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye.